Gerald, you're on mute.
I'm going to unmute right now. Yes, we are here. November is upon us, and we're here for this month's stand-up. I thought I was going to unmute automatically whenever we came out of that little jingle of ours, but nope, here we are talking to
You look
myself
great.
again.
That's all
Thank
that
you.
matters.
I look a little bit red, right? I don't know what's wrong with the lighting today, but I'm going to keep it like this. It's fine. It's a tan. It's a tan. I'll just keep it like that. Actually, it's pretty windy here in the Netherlands. And Brandon, I've missed you because you were in the Netherlands 2-3 weeks ago. I think the weather was a little bit better then.
It was warmer, but lots of rain.
Right.
Not a lot of blue skies.
We actually have a storm going on right now, so there's trees falling over and that kind of stuff. So it's a mess. And I think it's coming to Sean tomorrow. That's Sean. So looking forward to it.
It's already arrived, actually. But
oh, really? Oh, good. You can have it. And yeah, you were at Tekorama, Brandon. Great conference here in the Netherlands, but I got sick, so I couldn't do my session, unfortunately. But I hope you had a great time.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Bummed I missed you, but yeah, there's something going around because even a couple folks. So actually, I was in Europe for 3 weeks. I was at Tekorama in Utrecht in the Netherlands, and then jumped over to Porto for NDC Porto, then on to Gothenburg for Sweet Hug, which all three amazing. Highly recommend the conferences. If you missed them, if you're in the area, go to them next year. But yeah, there was a couple of speakers got sick at Tekorama, and then a couple folks picked up whatever was going around Tekorama and were supposed to speak at NDC Porto. Like I know Nick Chapsis got, I think he caught COVID, and Michael Stabe caught something and couldn't leave his hotel in Porto. So be careful over there, guys. There's there's bad stuff going around.
Sounds good. Sean, have you been sick at all? You're just healthy. You started running again. That's what I heard. So
I have, yes, running away from the germs.
Yeah. There you have it. That's it.
Yeah, I'm trying to go on a bit of a health kick at the moment. So
yeah, good. That's always good.
Yeah, and I have been avoiding the germs, but I work from home, so I mostly keep away from people.
Yeah, that's always good. That's always good. Just people are scary, man, and contagious. So just don't go there. You've been good, otherwise. Just
all good. Yeah,
riding it out to the end of the year.
We're close, aren't we? It's not long to go now.
Yeah, it's not long. Just one stand-up away.
Starbucks Holiday Cup.
Starbucks Holiday Cup.
We've got through Halloween now, haven't we? So.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Victor, we have to sing for Victor. Happy birthday. No, it's not happy birthday. Victor got to hear yesterday. It's the second, right? Yes. The 1st of November, the 1st of every month, Microsoft MVPs get announced. Our Victor in the team has been announced as a new Microsoft MVP. He still has to upload his profile picture.
Who is this
Here
guy?
we are.
I need to put my photo there. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, it has been exciting, all this path.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've been doing great. You've been putting out all kinds of content. You've been helping us with contributions, of course. So that is really amazing, well deserved. I hope you will enjoy it. And hopefully that will also make the chances that we meet somewhere around the world a little bit bigger.
Hopefully, yeah. I hope to soon to meet you in person.
Cool. Kim,
yes,
still here in Europe, not blowing over back to Australia?
Well, I've just been away in Turkey, so I suppose I'm in Europe and Asia, kind of bit of a mix, you know. But I'm back, and Switzerland's raining a lot, you know. But that also seems to be a European thing. So yeah, no, all good, thank you.
Great. Vlad, how have you been doing?
Yeah, hello. I would say that it's spring, actually. The weather looks like it's spring. It's 20 degrees above zero, like butterflies flying. Yeah, it's very unusual in November to see the weather like this. Yeah, and I'm still eating like berries on my garden. So yeah, we'll see what will be next. Yeah.
Cool. And I see we have a new guest, Tanya, but I'm not sure if Tanya's in the right place.
Yeah, Tanya's one of our maintainers now. She's been on the stand-up before.
Really? Oh, did I miss that?
Welcome back, Tanya. You're on mute. Oh, nope. Looks like maybe we'll see Tanya again in a bit. Yeah.
All right.
Tanya joined along with Constantine, the other Constantine. We had a whole flood of new folks from the elections.
Perfect. That's great. That's great. I totally missed that. So sorry for the confusion here. Because this StreamYard thing is shared among multiple Microsoft people. So I kind of assumed that someone else logged in accidentally. But this is perfect. Tanya, welcome. Great. When she comes back. Constantine, how have you been doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Perfect.
We did it.
Fine.
Last time we speak with you many years ago when you just joined to Xamarin team, I think. And now I'm here, It took for a while, but
yeah, full circle. That's great. Tanya, can you hear us now? Welcome back.
Yes. Sorry, I had some network issues, but now it's okay.
Perfect. Great. How have you been doing?
Yeah, it's actually fine also. I looked at this bug with avatar view. You know this that if you have background color and image, it will cover up image, this background color. And I found out that this issue is with all geometry object. If you just use like ellipse or for example, I don't know, rectangle, it will work, but not with round rectangle geometry as it's now.
Great. You're just focused on working out those bugs. I love it. Perfect. So I'm just looking at the agenda here. We have already congratulated Victor for the people who just joined in. Tanya, Constantine, he has made Microsoft MVP, so that's great. All of our stuff, all of our agenda is open source as well. We do everything open source. That's how we work. So you can find it in the repository. There is a link somewhere in the chat. Scroll a little bit back. And then Brandon, you're going to talk a little bit about upcoming releases because we have a lot of stuff to cover. So releases for .NET 7, releases for .NET 8. What's going on?
Yeah, so big theme today is going to be figuring out what more we can squeeze into our last release before .NET MAUI upgrades to .NET 8, because at the same time, we'll publish our support for .NET 8. So all that means is we're pushing out a release this week, and we've got a lot of awesome features already in it. So I've highlighted a couple here that we're going to talk about a little later. Like there's been bug fixes for pop-up. We fixed some source generator things to make your life better. Vlad had an awesome PR for drawing view. We've implemented support for pop-up styles. Sean implemented the pop-up service, and we'll explain all of those to you later. But there's still a couple more PRs that have been floating around, and there's some active discussions on them. So if we can, I'd love to squeeze them in. But if we can't, then that's okay. They'll be in the next release. But FYI, our next release, our release this week will be version 6.1.0. This will be our last release targeting .NET 7. As you know, .NET 8's coming out in, I think 2 weeks now, whenever .NET Conf is, really, really soon. And when that day comes, when .NET MAUI adds support for .NET 8, we will push out our release adding support for .NET 8 as well. So just like last year, we supported .NET 7 same day. We'll support .NET 8 same day, so you can update all your apps and you won't be behind. But that also means we have to move on. We've got to focus. Vlad's already done a bunch of awesome work implementing the .NET 8 PR. But once we get this next release out, .NET 8 PR is going to be our focus, and then we can circle back to bug fixes. So big day today, talking about what more we can squeeze into Community Toolkit.MAUI version 6.1.0.
Cool. That's a lot to talk about. So is that the PRs? Is that the PRs
Let's
that are coming up in the agenda?
Yeah, some of the PRs on the agenda are ones we've already closed. I just want to highlight some cool things that are coming, like pop-up service and drawing view events commands and the source generated fixes we added. And then these down here are 4 open PRs that look like they're close, feel like they're close, but also there's been some discussion. So I want to make sure we're all on the same page, and I'm happy to put in some extra work tonight to squeeze them in so we can get a release out tomorrow, but we'll see. We'll find out. together.
Let's make it work. What are we doing here? Let's just live code everyone together. Let's do it. Before we move on, no Clifford today, I see in the chat by George. Earlier, he was cleaning up lots of discussions in the community toolkit. No, Clifford couldn't make it today. He had some other thing that he needed to attend to, so he's not here today, sadly. But yes, he's been doing a lot of cleaning up in the discussions. I think because, we're also trying to use the discussions now for like voting and proposals and that kind of stuff. So he's probably cleaning them up to have a little bit more overview there. And that's what he's been doing there.
Yeah. So long story short, so Cliff kind of has taken ownership of discussions, which is something we've needed for a long time now. We've kind of piecemealed it where we'll all chime in when we can. But yeah, Cliff had a great idea to clean up some of the old obsolete discussions because when discussions first came out on GitHub, there was no closed or completed button. So we couldn't do anything. So he's doing some cleanup for us. I've literally woke up to like 140 emails from GitHub thanks to Cliff. But yeah, he's a real life pilot. He flies for British Airways, and he's in the simulator right now to, I guess, maintain his license. So more important things, because he saves lives, transports lives every day. But yeah, that's also why we have a bunch of discussions on the to-do list today. If we have time, I'd love to get to them. But what we want to do going forward, and Cliff's recommendation is to surface any discussion that has more than 5 upvotes. So if there's any discussions out there that you're interested in, that you want to bring to our attention, and so that we can chat about it on the stand-up here, go into discussions, upvote them, because then we can chat about it and whether or not we want to promote it, whether we want to encourage community members to submit a proposal, PR, bug fix, whatever it might be. So yeah, big day today. Big day.
Awesome. So what about, like, we have a lot of stuff to talk about. Should we just follow the agenda here? Is that a good thing to do? So we can just go through proposals real quick and then move on to the PRs, or you just want to move straight into the PRs? Up to you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep. I accidentally skipped these proposals. So this first one will be quick. We voted on this one last week. Long story short.
Last month.
Last month. Gosh, it feels like just yesterday. Yeah, long story short, we had to add a dependency to skiasharp.views, specifically for Tizen builds, because there was a security vulnerability detected in a previous version of Skia. So we're still waiting because the actual fix, and you can come in here and read it, but the actual fix is we were waiting for Microsoft.maui.graphics.skia NuGet package to be updated, which it now has been. So they're targeting a good version of Skia that no longer has that security vulnerability. And then the next step is the Tizen.ui.extensions.NUI package needs to be updated to target the latest Microsoft Maui graphics Skia NuGet package. And then once that's in place, we can remove our dependency. And so we did vote on this last month, but we didn't have enough to meet the 50% threshold to actually add the approved tag. So just want to do a quick vote here to approve this. And that way, once it's approved, I can come in, rip out the Skia Sharp dependency because it'll be obsolete. But this is more of a formality just to make sure that we can push through it and we don't have to wait till the next stand-up. So quick show of hands if you approve. All right, great, cool. I thought that would be an easy one. I was hoping that would be an easy one. All right. Proposal approved. Boom. All right, next up. There is a tab view that Victor and Vlad, fill us in what's going on with tab view.
Yeah, we probably discussed it last month, so I prepared a small demo. Let me share my screen really fast. My screen is here. You should now see it. So this is a small demo I prepared describing the alternative solutions for the tab view. So we had a tab view in Xamarin Community Toolkit, where it was implemented using like template view, which is based on stack layout, and in .NET MAUI stack layout is now in compatibility package. So actually, we do not want to like use compatibility controls in .NET MAUI in community toolkit, .NET MAUI community toolkit. Yeah. So here I found like how we can using existing controls implement the same behavior as we had with tab view. So the simplest solution is to using a carousel view plus indicator. In that case, these two indicator is our tabs that can easily like you can clicking on them and you see that tabs content changes. You also have a way to like using swipes to switch between tabs. And this works great on Android and iOS, but on Windows, carousel view is not like the best control from .NET MAUI. And probably it will be changed in .NET 8 and it will work better. But for now, in .NET 7, like I cannot like recommend using it. So it's alternative number one, how it can be reused. Also, it can be implemented using radio buttons. Is the same behavior as with indicator and carousel view, and you can see that tabs content changes actually, but tabs is instead of indicator, it's just radio button. As for content, it's not a carousel view, it's just a simple view that just replaces the content. Also, the third implementation can be just using a custom control that extends a content view that has tabs, that has content, and that's it. So my proposal here is just to probably we should close this issue maybe just because there are at least three alternatives how we can achieve using a tab view and like also you can see indicator view is customizable. You can like set background, set a text there, also add images. Radio button I didn't implement it, but that the radio buttons also can have custom control content. As for custom control, it's up to you. You can implement it in a way you like. So probably like my question here, should be like implemented tab view at all and move it to the community toolkit, or we can just close it the issue with at least three different implementations, three different suggestions how it can be implemented. What do you think?
I mean, less work for me is always a good thing. So selfishly, yeah, I think Vlad, if you're comfortable with sharing this sample and kind of doing a quick type up, like,
yep, it's
cool.
already shared. It should be in. I already shared it in tab view. Let me show where you can find it. Yeah, it's here in my MAUI samples repository. In MAUI tab view sample. And you can find all source here related to tab view, related to MAUI main page XAML file, where you can find like how it's implemented, like carousel view implementation. So yeah, according to code, you can see that tab view is just like 20 lines of code, and you can see that it. Let me zoom a bit. So you can see that you can have any like data template where you can set icon, you can set some text, title, the same for carousel view content. It's just the content from your code behind. So the same for all other controls, like don't remember what's about it. yeah, if we're talking for custom control, it's also the same implementation, like for tabs and for content. It's also pretty simple implementation. Yeah, and as I mentioned, yeah, the best way with animation, the best way with virtualization, the best way, like when you do not need to load all contents immediately, carousel view and indicator view is probably the best solution. But you have to know and check if it works for you on, especially on Windows. Yeah, as for all other, like radio button, pretty much the same, but works better on Windows. And yeah, with radio button, you can say value content depends on selected value. Just based on binding, it's just switch the content, and where the content is just a content view, where you display the content of your tab. And if you want, like, if you need the most customizable solution, tab view control is probably the best for you. Yeah, and it can be achieved implemented using just one line of code if you use bindings.
Cool. So I'd say, well, obviously we can take a vote, see what other folks think, but yeah, obviously, tab view, this proposal's been open since September 28th, 2021. We haven't had any volunteers to do it yet. So yeah, I think adding this sample of Vlad, I would actually recommend copy pasting some code snippets, because developers are lazy and they don't might not want to click down into your GitHub repo to try and find it. But yeah, add some code snippets. Okay. You can link to this video if you don't want to type everything out again. But yeah, I'm cool with closing this and putting it on hold. And if somebody does come along and says, "Hey, I want to implement it," and I'll submit a PR, we could circle back to it. But for now, it feels like, judging off the last 2 years and a few months, nobody stepped forward to do it. So.
Yeah, it was initially just copied from Xamarin Community Toolkit. You can even in proposal, you can see that it's still references Xamarin. So yeah, it's pretty old. Yeah, and as I mentioned, that some properties depends on the implementation at what the base control, if we even choose implementing this tab view control. If we choose the right base class for it, probably some like swipe enabled, some other properties may just not be used because of the implementation of the base control. In case, for example, if we use a carousel view or indicator, and that's it. Yeah, I got your idea, so I will just put some code snippets directly to this proposal, and yeah, we'll see if we can just close it with this suggestion, or we will find a volunteer who want maybe implement it and just add it to the community toolkit.
We'll find one.
Yeah.
That's great. All great stuff. So the last proposal before we move on to the PRs, Android-specific navigation bar effect.
Yes, this is one that I highlighted, and more looking for some guidance here, because some folks in the community might remember Max. Max did a bunch for the Xamarin Community Toolkit, so great to see Maxim back here. But Victor mentioned oh wait, no, this wasn't one of Victor's. Sorry, Victor. You did a lot of awesome work, and we're going through and kind of cleaning some stuff up. So no, sorry. We had a member of the community ask what the status is, and I kind of explained there's really no new status, but Max chimed in to mention that this is different than our existing feature of the status bar behavior, and this is specifically for the, let's see, so status bar is at the top, while navigation bar is at the bottom. And this specific proposal was for the Android navigation bar. So let them know that we'd be chatting about it today. And if we get 50% vote, we can move it to approved. And it sounds like Max is also willing to jump in and lead the charge on this PR for us. So let me scroll back up to the top so we can all be on the same page, because even I'm out of the loop on this one. But it looks like it's basically being able to set the color for the navigation bar, which I don't know if this is wrong and I did this wrong when I created this proposal, or if maybe terminology has changed since. But like this shows us using it with the navigation page, which means it would be the navigation bar on the top. Max says it's for the one on the bottom. I'm not an Android guy, so kind of looking for some help here, some assistance. But the good news is Max says he's down to open a PR, as long as we're all on the same page of what this is, what we should expect from it. We should probably clean up this proposal a little bit before moving forward, so we don't get Max writing a bunch of code that we didn't expect. But yeah, what do you guys think?
I'm totally for whichever one it is. But there's like three things that I'm thinking of. Like I think we have the status bar. I think we have that ported over.
Yep.
So the navigation bar, probably like you, I think of like that thing on the top, right, where it says the title and the back button and the hamburger menu and that kind of stuff. But you could also, So Burger's Cat in the chat says like, hey, that navigation bar can also be the bar at the bottom on Android, where you have like the button to go to your home screen or the multitask screen or go back, right?
Yes.
And I know that in the Xamarin Community Toolkit, we had also a way of coloring that thing. So I'm in favor of implementing each of these, but it's probably good to kind of like set expectations on which one we expect to get and Max is going to put in the code for.
Yeah, I know as a consumer of the Xamarin Community Toolkit, I've certainly used the feature that does style that. It's the soft back button, isn't it, on the on the home button on an Android device.
And would it be an effect?
I think it's all behaviors now, right?
That's right. I was just going to point that out because Brandon said let's adjust it before we start writing code, and we don't want to write an effect if we shouldn't.
Yeah, so if we go based on what Max said in that issue proposal, whatever, then I think he means the bottom bar thing, which I'm totally fine with. We definitely need to have that as well, especially because it's something in the Xamarin Community Toolkit, and make sure that, well, he's not going to be able to implement it as an effect, so he'll run into that immediately. And I think the same was for like the status bar. I think that was an effect too, and we had to change that to a behavior. I think Pedro did that one. So there should be some sample around on how to do that. So yeah, I definitely say let's have this cool thing. Let's port it over.
Cool. Before we vote to approve it, which sounds like we will be approving it, who wants to volunteer to be this proposal champion? So it's not that you're writing the code, but you'll be kind of the PM, the project manager, helping Max along. And I think the first step will be we'll want the proposal champion to clean up this proposal. So obviously, like change effect to behavior and add some more specificity around what we're looking for. Like maybe there's a screenshot, but I think that'll be or should be step one before we tell Max to go ahead. That way we have somebody working with him if he has any questions and we can guide him through the process.
If no one's going to go, I'm waiting for Gerald.
I was just going to comment on Gerald's commitment to his elevator. It's very impressive.
Not here.
No, you went all the way down.
Squatting here. If no one else is going to do it, I can do it. It's fine.
I was going to say the same, but
going once. Oh, should we flip a coin? Or
no, I'll do it. It's fine.
All right. Thanks, Gerald. Let's see. Where'd my screen go? Here we go. Nope, this one. Cool. So yeah, Gerald, I'll pop you on here, and when you get a chance, yeah, just coming through, clean this up to make sure this is behavior. And I would say it'd probably be good to add in, well, I don't know if this is still how we want to implement it for the usage, but that way,
yeah, we'll have a look.
We have some expectations set. All right.
Yep.
Next
all right.
up.
I think the next up is, yes, all in the PRs. And you seem to know what you want to do, so go ahead.
I almost jumped to this one like 20 minutes ago. Yeah, this is just a cool FYI. There's my screen. There's me on the screen. There we go. So it's just a cool FYI that somebody in the community mentioned that, hey, we didn't do our, well, not that our source generators were bad, although they have been bad and we're slowly making them better. But there's these cool attributes we can and should have added that exist in C# where we can basically say that this is generated code and to exclude it from unit test code coverage tools. So this is just kind of a FYI to everybody out there, and kind of a my bad from us, that if you were getting code coverage tools telling you you're missing all these implementations because of our libraries, our apologies, but the next release will fix that. So look forward to that one coming soon.
Perfect. Ben, Sean, what's going on with the pop-up service?
As we speak, I'm writing the documentation for it. But we got it in, which is great. Yes, I think we've spotted some ways that we can enhance upon it, but I think it's a good V1. So it's nice to get that in, and we'll get that released in the next version.
Great. Yeah, so the way we go about this stuff is, a feature and thing isn't done until the documentation is there as well, which sometimes has some challenges because they're in two separate repos. And then I come into that repo and I'm like, yes, documentation, boom, approve, merge, do all the things. And then we have documentation for stuff that we didn't release yet. It's happened more than once. But here we are. So I'm the expert on reverting PRs in GitHub. If you want to know all about that, ask me. Yeah, cool. So pop-up service, we got that. Vlad, we have some awesome stuff coming in for the drawing view. Some commands.
Yeah, it was a requested feature from community. So in our current version, we only have an event and command when our drawing line finished. So when user just drawn something and finished drawing, we only after that we find event and run command. Now we have more control. So when user just started drawing, when user cancel his drawing, when user just drawing something, so on drawn event, so we added these 3 events. Also, we had a breaking change coming in the version after the version we will see tomorrow. We added a new on drawing line completed event. That also will replace current drawing completed event, and yeah, that's it.
You just promised that we were going to make a release tomorrow. Okay, well, now we're going to make it happen. Yeah, no problem. Cool. Lots of cool stuff in the drawing view. I think that's pretty stable. We don't see a lot of issues about the drawing view, right? Just now new feature requests, so that's pretty cool. I love that.
Yeah, and to be honest, I thought about rewriting it using the .NET MAUI graphics view, because currently I see that we just replace duplicate each other, but it's definitely not for tomorrow's release. Yeah.
No, if you're promising new releases, you're going to rewrite it tonight. Okay.
Okay.
Change the display method of pop-up overlay on Windows. What's that all about? Brandon, you're muted this time. Yes.
Oh, man. Thanks, Gerald. Going back to our conversation earlier, this is one that I flagged that we can squeeze this in for tomorrow's release. I'll stay up late tonight. That's okay to merge this. But the reason I brought this up because, let's see, a lot of awesome work from Kenji. Kenji, you've been amazing. Thanks so much for all of your pop-up PRs. But was curious if anybody had a chance to review this yet, if we have any feelings. Let's see. It looks like in pop-up overlay, looks like this PR is fixing a couple issues. So there's the issue where the navigation bar is operable when the pop-up is showing. And I assume that's on Windows because the title in this is focusing on Windows. And then an issue where overlays are not displayed on the pop-up background when we have can be dismissed by tapping outside a pop-up is false. So without having reviewed any of this code, I'll say it feels like a good one we should add. But was just curious if anybody was up to date on this or had any thoughts, or even better, or maybe worse, to say, no, don't merge this. This is bad. We need time to think about this. So what's everybody think? If not, I'm happy to jump on this PR and review it tonight.
Victor, Constantine, Tanya, we haven't heard a lot from you. Any thoughts?
I think we can merge it, but I suggest we should review this PR more than just look at it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I remember I viewed it that property is dismissible. A long name, I don't remember it correctly. Yeah, it works a bit weird as for me because for some reason when I set it to false, I cannot I can dismiss when is dismissed enabled. Let's call it like this. The background was transparent. Yeah, can be dismissed by tapping outside of pop-up. Yeah. It background was transparent when it's set to false, but when it's set to true, you can dismiss pop-up. But for some reason, background is dimmed, it was a bit weird behavior. So I left it how it was implemented now. Yeah, I will also take a look at this PR and see if it works. Yeah, you can assign it to me as well. Yeah.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Okay.
Right,
Sounds
thanks,
like, a couple extra eyes. I do know the PRs that Kenji has been putting out are pretty solid overall. So, of course, we still have to look through it and not just assume, but I'm pretty confident about this one. So, yeah, if you can make it happen somewhere in the next couple of hours before I wake up.
And thanks, Vlad. And yeah, feel free to loop me in if you run out of time or something pops up. I know it's already late where you are, whereas I've still got some hours of daylight left. So
cool.
This next one is another one that we could probably squeeze in. Long story short, for anybody who's used the toolkit, and as soon as you install our NuGet package, we will generate an error until you add in this use MAUI community toolkit or use MAUI community toolkit media element, if that's a NuGet package you're working on. Just let you know, because if you don't call use MAUI community toolkit in your MAUI program.cs file, then some of our features won't work. And years ago, when we first came out with the toolkit, we were having a bunch of issues open that we ended up closing because all of them were related to folks missing this method. So we added in a compiler error if you're missing it. But Israel here, Israel Soto. Good to see you again, Israel.
I know him.
Yeah. Friend of the team, friend of the show. He likes to have spaces in between the method name and the open close parentheses, which is kind of cool. That's an old mono thing. I remember Miguel de Icaza loved to have spaces, and the Xamarin code base back in the day at least had spaces in between method names and the parentheses, which I think looks weird. And I always gave Miguel a hard time for it, but he makes a good point that we should respect that. So I'm cool with pushing forward with this, but one thing I asked Israel about is the way he implemented this is he did it via regex. And so when I reviewed this, I just asked him to, where's my review? I asked him to basically use compiled regex like we're already doing in the toolkit. And so I think, here's my review. Or generated regex, there it is. So we're already using it in the toolkit. Long story short, this uses source generators. So it'll write all the regex code ahead of time, way better for performance. And since this is in a source generator, in an analyzer, which is also basically the same as a source generator, this is something that's going to run a lot. And we've had the .NET team reach out to us a couple times because our source generators and analyzers weren't super efficient. So I think the least we can do is transform his regex to use generated regex. But that being said, Pedro brought up a really good point. The proper way to do it is Roslyn has APIs to handle this. They're a little bit complex, and I personally don't have the time to both learn those, implement this before the release tomorrow. But I think if we... and I can come in here and I'll modify Israel's code to use generated regex, but want to get everybody's thoughts because regex has been known for as adding performance bottlenecks, but I think with generated regex, we should be fine. And if I convert Israel's code from boring old imperformant regex to generated regex, I think we'll still be good, but want to at least raise it with the team because I know how sensitive we should be around performance and source generators.
I have a question. Why should we check if we have this open braces or not? Can we just check for text use community toolkit MAUI and that's it? Why should we check for open braces?
Oh, it's a good point. I'll say when I first made this analyzer, that was kind of my way to make sure that, or the way I came up with to make sure you were properly calling it. But the only conflict I could see is if there's another method, like you could create your own method called use MAUI community toolkit, but yeah, I guess that's another option too. We could just delete that.
I think it will be like the most simplest solution without like adding additional regex. And if somebody like create their own method that called use community toolkit, blah blah blah. Well, it may not work, but for our simplicity, I think probably it's just simpler for us just to remove this open braces and just go with this solution.
I like that. So basically just instead of adding regex, we'll just delete this one character here.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Won't that mean that use MAUI community toolkit core would then satisfy the rule and that doesn't really satisfy the rule?
Well, if user has core, then he haven't installed.
They could accidentally write the wrong thing, couldn't they? If they're using autocomplete, they could even just markup or media element could satisfy that rule then.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Because down here it's use MAUI community toolkit media element. Dang.
You're using the bracket to make sure that it's the one that we really want, aren't you?
Gotcha. Because they could be calling this and forgetting to call use MAUI community toolkit. But if we delete that parenthesis, then good catch, John. Good catch.
Now it'd be fine if it was the other way around. If everything called MAUI community toolkit, it wouldn't then in theory matter which one was called. If everything initialized properly, but I'm not suggesting we get into. I'm fearful of introducing something like a regex if we haven't profiled it before we release, just to make sure it doesn't introduce more problems.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, I'll tell you what. Let's pause this. We'll do a little bit more research on it before steamrolling it into the next release because again we've already been yelled at a couple times, or they've offered to help us and have opened PRs a couple times, I should say. The .NET engineering team has, because our beautiful source generator code has been slowing down Visual Studio, or was before they fixed it for us. So okay, let's
Oops.
my bad, everybody. Why don't you just use an M3 MacBook Pro like everybody else?
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
the fix. All right, I'll add the block label to it, and we'll circle back. Good call.
I am happy to take a look into the Roslyn APIs to see if, or do a bit of profiling there.
Oh, I thought we were going to say.
I'll
I'll take
and
the
we got a
M3.
volunteer.
I won't be able to guarantee that it'll be done by tomorrow for the release, but I will certainly have a look. And
Perfect.
happy to take it on.
Thanks, Sean. All right.
See, there we are. Status bar, behavior, the one we just talked about.
So again, this is one. Let's see. Pedro left a review, and let's see. This would close a couple issues where like back navigation or status bar style on Android 10 aren't working as expected. But again, this isn't something that I've reviewed yet. It was an open PR that was like, hey, can we get this in before the next PR, or should we wait? Thoughts from anybody? Has anybody had a chance to look at this, review it, or maybe has opinions already on it?
I haven't necessarily reviewed the PR, but I do agree with the change, if that makes sense. The change in behavior, in the fact that whatever page is presented, you expect its definition of the status bar to be what's presented in the application. I know that's not currently what it does.
Shouldn't it be navigated to or on appearing, disappearing? Yeah, because I thought it's like loaded event. Yeah, navigated to loads file each time we go to page, right?
Yes.
Yeah, in that case, it's pretty much the same as on appearing, disappearing. Okay.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think the point is that you have page A that presents a red status bar, page B that presents blue.
Mhm.
You navigate to B and then you navigate back to A, but it stays as blue, which is B's color. It doesn't. So I'm not necessarily sure I agree with Pedro in the fact that the current behavior is correct. I think that the current behavior is wrong, and we should just we should follow whatever the latest status bar behavior presents.
Okay.
I am okay with this the discussion that's gone on about whether we suggest that we give the developer the ability to choose which events they want to drive it in the scenario if there are scenarios that we haven't catered for.
Oh, there you are, Sean, advocating. Yeah, was this one with the enum, Sean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
And let's see, has that enum been implemented yet, or are we still waiting on that?
No, so we discussed some naming. Naming is always a difficult problem, isn't it? I think near the end I suggested that, but we may have realised that there might be more lifecycle events, or we might want to go with a more specific name rather than a generic name, and that's open for discussion. So anyone that has an opinion would be welcome to weigh in.
Okay, at least for tomorrow's release, it sounds like we should let this bake a little bit. We don't want to. This feels like something where if we get it wrong today, we might have to do a breaking change in the future. So any, we'll say, disagreement that we should wait on this one?
No, I agree with you.
All right, cool.
Yep.
Moving on. One last possible addition for tomorrow's release. Add consideration of loaded event. Actually, speaking of Pedro, he's already reviewed and approved this. So that seems good. It seems like an easy win for us to add it in. Again, anybody had a chance to look at this, review it, thoughts?
Nope.
I think it's the same, pretty much the same that Sean did for all other pop-ups previously, but this is specific for Windows. So I think the idea is the same, that we should not like open pop-up on appearing, because like handler is null, something like that. So on navigated to or on loaded, we have like final handler, and we can display pop-up. Right, Sean?
Yeah, I think from following some of the discussion here, I think it boils down to the fact there's a bug on Windows in MAUI where the approach that were put in place to allow people to show a pop-up in non-appearing, it basically it delegates down to the on-navigated to lifecycle event, because the handlers are ready at that stage. On appearing, they're not. So we couldn't present the pop-up because the underlying handlers weren't ready. That doesn't work on Windows still, it seems. So I think it's had to delegate down to loaded, because that's a workaround to get it to work on Windows for now.
Okay.
So I would expect this would be a temporary solution. Once the MAUI fix comes out, then we could, in theory, remove this code again.
Got it. Okay,
and actually, that's what the to-do, if you just go back to that code, I think that was the agreement that came between Kat and Pedro, is the fact that there's a to-do there to say we can remove it once that bug is fixed. So I don't see it as anything wrong with that change. We're going to stop getting bug reports from developers saying it doesn't work, which rightly so it doesn't. We can work around the problem to keep people happy.
Okay. And so I'll assign this to me, because I think it'll be good for me to go ahead. I'll open up an issue that'll align with that MAUI issue that I was trying to find, but realized it wasn't a direct link. So I'll link to that MAUI issue. I'll keep an eye on it. And that way, once it is done, we'll have it noted for our toolkit, and then we can come through and replace our code. So, okay, great. Well, that's an easy one. Thanks, everybody.
Yes. Release is done. Should we just do it now? Live on stream, release new version. That was fun. All right, couple of discussions left. We also don't have much time left, so let's just burn through these. Call it a night. Go to bed.
Yeah, discussions, and obviously we'll defer to Cliff. He's our discussion owner. So hopefully we're doing it right for you, Cliff. But I think what we should do for now is, if anybody's already familiar with these discussions, feel free to chime in. So maybe this Gerald guy knows what's going on here for this one. But I think really where we come in as maintainers for discussions is to help promote it. So if we see something that says, yep, this looks like it's ready to go, this deserves a proposal, I'll jump in and help this community member, Gerald, I think it's pronounced, open up a proposal. But yeah, Joe, do you want to kick it off with full screen Windows support media element discussion?
Yeah, so I don't know what to do with this. Like I said, basically, like it seems so easy to add, but I think Victor bit his teeth in it at some point, and he was like, "Yes, I'm gonna do it." Was it Victor? I don't know. There was one person, maybe even two, who said like, "Yes, I'm gonna do it," and it's just super hard, especially on all platforms, basically. Like on iOS, you can do full screen pretty easily, but it kind of like works the iOS-y way, so you can't really have a method where you say like do full screen, because there's no API for that on iOS. It will only go full screen whenever you start playing. So if you pause it, it will go back, right? Or it will, I don't know, there's some behavior tricky thingy there, but there's not really a method that you could implement to say go full screen and now go back. It's just not there. On Android, super crazy hard to implement this. I don't know why, probably because of how the screens and the windows and that kind of stuff is all composed. Super crazy hard to do it. A lot of people also, if you look for like not just for .NET MAUI, but also if you look at like the platform Android tools and Kotlin and Java and that kind of stuff, not a lot of people who can actually pull it off. For Windows, it's also kind of interesting. I think Windows might be, there's always one platform where it's super easy, and then you're like, yes, this is going to be easy. If that's the first platform that you're going to implement, then you're like, yes, this is going to be a piece of cake. And then you go to the next one, and it's like, I hate my life. But on Windows, I think it's either, I can't remember, it's been a while. It's easy-ish to get it just full screen, or what will happen is that it will only take the full window, right? Because you have only the window, basically. So what's the right behavior there? Because it's very different on mobile and on macOS. Maybe I'm thinking of macOS. Maybe macOS took the full screen. Anyway, long story short, lots of differences between platforms. On at least Android, there he is, Neo Matrix. See, that is the person who did an attempt. Yeah, he's also in the chat. Oh, that's where I saw him in the chat. The stream.
Hey, James.
Oh, James. Yeah, thank you. So super crazy hard. Like, do we keep it open? Do we say we just can't do it? I don't know.
I mean, it sounds like, at least for now, so we can jump off and start working on this release. Maybe we just put in a, don't we have a help wanted label? I thought we had a help wanted label.
You would think so.
There we go. We can put this on here. It sounds like it's not going to be easy, and we don't have enough. I remember the PR from James. Thanks again, James. But it's not going to be easy. So if anybody's out there and wants to help, help wanted. Bat signal is raised.
Yeah, I also have tried that, and it's when you find, oh, I'm done, finally did it with Android, then you try with something else and it's broken. Yeah.
That's okay. These are all fine answers for discussions. Like I said, like these aren't ones that are going to be published tomorrow. So just doing our due diligence and being good maintainers and making sure we're keeping up with our discussions. Thanks to Cliff.
Calendar. I'll just talk.
Well, I'll say I remember this was the last feature review or feature for feature PR. There we go. A community member opened a PR to the Xamarin Community Toolkit, and it came in just under the deadline before we cut off our releases to where we switched it to just maintenance mode back when .NET MAUI came out years ago. And I remember they got it really, really close, but there was still just a couple bugs and we couldn't figure out how to get, I remember there was something on iOS working properly. So it was one of those, like, it wasn't there in time for the Xamarin Community Toolkit before we kind of put that on ice. And so there is an old solution. Actually, let's see what ME Marvin has linked to. Oh, his X calendar. Marvin, do you already have a NuGet package? Oh, it looks like Marvin's already done it.
Yeah, I think maybe his discussion was to just move this over to us, but not sure. Oh, I think
I can add. I look probably at this package and saw that it uses probably grid or some like controls, but on the other hand, there is like a native like platform control from Apple and Android, and once again we should like at first, if we want to implement it and move it to Community Toolkit, we want to decide if we were going to use like handler implementation, or we just go with a like shared code and just use like grid control or whatever we decide. From my point of view, like probably calendar is rather complex control, and probably it makes sense to like view it as the native implementation because probably it has a better integration with operation system. For example, like adding events, some kind of time zones, some kind of like other like 29th day of 29th of February, some other like maybe time zones when we like switch sometimes, so scheduling events, whatever else we do in calendar. probably it already implemented in platform controls, but we need to maintain it on our side if we use like a shared implementation. So yeah.
I
Yeah,
agree with all that.
yeah, I agree. I think calendar controls are one of those things that does sound simple. It's like printer drivers, right? They should just all work, right? But they never do, right? And that's how calendar controls are. So I think it's a big thing to take on.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the basics are kind of simple, but also what I remember from X Calendar, I did some videos about it on my YouTube channel. Like and subscribe. Where I think Marvin has done a great job, but I think he also does not have an iOS device to test on. So he's kind of like trusting that whatever he does with the power of MAUI, because this is all built with like MAUI components. What works on Android will also work on iOS. And I've found some weird stuff there. So there might be, if you go digging around in this, some weird stuff that you might find out with some layouts and stuff. And then you have all the stuff with like, the sky's the limit with this, right? Like you can add appointments, different little colors for all kinds of stuff, reminders, blah, blah. You can come up with all kinds of stuff that is in Outlook, and now you want this in this calendar control. Plus, I think there is a lot of paid or free controls out there that already do this. I think DevExpress was in the community stand-up about .NET MAUI 2 hours earlier. They have free controls that you can use right now with a great calendar control. Same for Telerik and the other people that I'm always forgetting. But there's alternatives out there. This is a lot of work that we don't really need right now. I would love to have all the things, all the cool controls, and build on all that stuff. But I think we have a lot of work, as we've already seen a little bit earlier. So I think for now, this is not the best thing for us.
I agree. I like everything that Vlad said. I agree with that with Kim and Gerald. The calendars are hard. But I also throw in, talk with my hands. I kind of have the take that if a NuGet package already exists, we shouldn't be reinventing the wheel, or worse, steamrolling an existing community contributor. And that's kind of my take on here is I think it's awesome what Marvin's done. And like you said, Gerald, there's also Telerik's got one, Syncfusion's got one. So they exist. It's not like there's a blocker in the community. And if there comes a day where they all disappear and we're the only hope is to move it into the community toolkit for long-term maintenance, we can chat about it then. But yeah, I agree. I think we should let the community keep thriving. We don't need to reinvent the wheel here. Plus, it's really hard.
Yeah, I can agree. We did this calendar many times for Xamarin, for MAUI, for Blazor, many times. That you're definitely right, because every time when you need some specific behavior, and this behavior impossible to achieve with Syncfusion, with Telerik, with this component, and you have to implement it by yourself. And you're definitely right. Million of bugs, million of issues, and every time it's different. Every time you have to do something specific. And then never be able to achieve that. Especially, it's easy to implement. It's just grid with 31 cell, and that's all. Do whatever you want.
Cool. I'll respond here. I'll go ahead and close it. I'll let Marvin know that, tell him congrats and we look forward to his success. And then I can provide links to the ones we mentioned here in the stand-up about Telerik, Syncfusion, and their calendar controls too.
Cool. Okay, next in line, app icon badge. Konstantin, I want to hear you talk about this one.
Me? Yeah. So as I'm every time we have to do some platform annoying stuff like icon badge, like push notification, and you have to copy this code every time. And I think it's implemented already, right? This icon badge body swap.
Yeah, it's already a part of community toolkit, so probably this one can be closed. Yeah, it's already a part of community toolkit.
It's already documented, yes.
Super cool. Yes.
Yeah. There we go.
And also, I remember for Xamarin Forms, there is a ton of libraries which not supported anymore by anyone, and I think maybe we can also, so if someone remember that kind of cool libraries, like for example this library with Beige, that not maintained anymore, but maybe we can bring it into community toolkit, because it's super helpful when you can just use it and do not searching for some super outdated Xamarin Forms library and spend several weeks to try to convert it to new platform, for example. Amazing one. Vladislav, thanks a lot. I already use it, Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Yeah, just for Android, we have like a base class, and because of like Android specific implementation, it doesn't have like a generic API to implement this feature. So it's up to you what devices you need to support. So yeah, but anyway, if I'm not mistaken, even in documentation, we have a link to the third-party library where you can find the code for specific launcher. For example, for Xiaomi, for Samsung, for all other big vendors, you just need to copy your code into your project and just make sure it works. Yeah, but we decided that it's not on our part to support it. Yeah.
And we have specific fix. We just mentioned that this Beige just work only for iOS. If you use Android, so sorry guys, no Beige for you. No, done.
Yeah.
Cool. Last one.
Last one. Shell routing. This was actually opened up by Shane. And I think it's a cool idea. I'm not saying that I necessarily have the time to do it, but certainly if Shane wants to come back and give us shell routes on the class, I love this idea. What do you guys think?
I think it's kind of cool because it looks like something like roads in ASP.NET, and maybe it can be very useful.
The same for me. I have every time for each more application, I have ugly class when I register all these roads, and super annoying. If I just can use the attribute, it's going to be amazing.
Don't you use like our extension method for when you register the page in like services at singleton with shell root or something like that? We have like kind of it, but yeah, to simplify like page path registration. But yeah, if we have like another API, yeah. Actually, it's a good candidate for MAUI itself. Yeah, but probably we can try to see how it can work on our side as well.
Yeah, I was just wondering whether it was like one of these features where they want to try it in the community toolkit and then propagate it up to MAUI, because it feels like something that should be native. Yeah,
I think so, and it might even be. I don't have like the actual knowledge about this one, if that's the case here, but I think so. And what we also sometimes do is that we already decided that we kind of want it, but then still kind of like do it or in a known package or maybe here, because some people trust the toolkit, so that now that we're part of the bigger .NET. We are also stuck to a little bit more rules about when we can make breaking changes and add new stuff. So this way, by adding it to the toolkit, we can put it in the hands of our users today or every Friday, and then they don't have to wait until a new .NET version comes out, right? So then you can already use it now, and then whenever you transition to the new .NET version, which will have it, it'll be super easy because it's probably going to be the same API. We rip it out of the toolkit, and you will still be able to good to go. So that's kind of like how we go together with the .NET MAUI team and the toolkit team, and that is our combined strength. So I think that might be the idea here as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, sounds cool. Love it.
Tanya, not to put you on the spot, but you spoke first and seemed really excited. Would you mind taking the lead with this? And
yes, I also wanted to say that I would like to take lead of this proposal.
Beautiful. Thank you. And yeah, for this, it's just a discussion. So just commenting here and letting Shane Pureween know that we'd love to see this implemented, and ask Shane about how you can help with getting him to either create the proposal, or if you want to create the proposal on his behalf, that'd be awesome. Thank you. All right, last one. And this is more just an FYI for everybody. I mentioned this in last month's stand-up, but wanted to highlight it to let everybody know it's still around. Sorry, Constantine. There's me. So this is a bug we're seeing in the MAUI markup repos. This is communitytoolkit.maui.markup. We pushed out version 3.3 recently, and I've seen this myself, but agree with Alex. I've only seen this on macOS. So for some reason, the source generators are acting funny in MAUI markup version 3.3, but only on macOS. All of our CI builds are passing fine, even our macOS CI build. So there's something with the local configuration I haven't quite figured out. To be honest, I'm kind of hoping this just goes away when .NET 8 comes out. Like maybe there's a preview of .NET 8 I've got installed that has old bits, and that's what's causing it. But this isn't a blocker. You can always downgrade to version 3.2 of MAUI markup if you're seeing these weird errors that you can't figure out. Or if you do figure it out, let me know. I'd love to implement the fix, but for now, you're not blocked. Just downgrade one version. And hopefully this will magically disappear, or I'll figure out what I have installed, or maybe Alex will figure out what he has installed in his local machine that's causing these errors. But sorry about
Great.
that. I literally saw it just recently on my Mac. So,
I've just seen it about 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, same. And like when I'm doing like pull requests for the toolkit, I just go in and downgrade to 3.2 and then just don't commit that. But yeah, if you guys can figure out what version of .NET or what random library it is that we all have installed on our local machines, let me know. But
It's got nothing to do with .NET 8, if that helps.
Well, that's good.
I'm running an old preview build of VS for Mac, and I haven't gone above 7, and it's failing.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
Well,
Maybe it is the setting of the moon and the stars and that kind of stuff. Only on odd days, something like that. All right, cool. We got through all of it a little bit over time, but we got a lot of this good discussion here, but also in the chat. It seems, I don't know if it has to do with like the clock being set back in Europe and having a better time that way, that more people joined in, but I'm happy, or maybe we're just picking up momentum here. That's really great. Thank you all for joining for this month's stream. We're going to be back next month with the last one of this year. And we'll have .NET 8 support. We got at least one session where the .NET MAUI toolkit is going to be represented on .NET Conf. I'm going to be hosting a little bit on .NET Conf. I'm going to be in the studio, which I'm pretty excited about. So that's going to be cool. Tune in then, which is indeed going to be in like 2 weeks, 14 November, I think. So yeah, and we're going to keep rocking the code here for the Community Toolkit. See you next month, people. Thank you so much.